Hello, film fans. Welcome to All the Film Things. I'm your host, Elizabeth. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying this podcast, please leave a review and a rating. Also follow All the Film Things on Instagram for updates and more film things. Today, I am talking with Monique Madrid. Dubbed by previous guest Franklin Rich and more of our mutual friends as the Queen of Jacksonville, Monique Madrid is a festival organizer and has been an integral part of the Jacksonville community for 20 years now. Her involvement in film began with working behind and in front of the screen on films made by the Jacksonville-based production company Argylle Forest Films. She has been an editor and producer for their previously released shorts, such as A Novel Idea, their upcoming debut feature, Let Me Be Corey, as well as worked on other films made by Jax Filmmakers, such as Extreme and Mandy's Voice. Alongside her husband and previous All the Film Things guest, Adam Madrid, she is the co-city producer for the 48-Hour Film Project in Jacksonville and co-founder of the LOL Jax Film Festival, which has been named the best film festival in Folio Weekly's Folio 500 for 8 years in a row. In 2021, Monique was included in Jacksonville Business Journal's 40 Under 40, and 2 years later, the journal named Monique one of the women of influence in the city. Aside from her work in film, she works with local organizations and schools such as Don't Miss a Beat Incorporated and Jacksonville Arts and Music School, or JAMS for short. Next month, Monique will be awarded the Small Business of the Year Art Award from the Cultural Council of the Greater Jacksonville in recognition of LOL Jax, which stands for both Laughing Out Loud and Loving Our Locals. The 10th annual LOL Jax Film Festival will be held on August 1st and 2nd in downtown Jacksonville, and film submissions are officially now being accepted until June 30th. We will be talking more about this comedy film festival later in our interview, but go to loljax.com to learn more about how to submit your film and take a look at festival highlights from previous years. Monique, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, and thank you for that intro. I was like, whoa, I did do that. That was great.
You did some great stuff, huh?
Thank you. I loved it. Oh,
I'm so glad, and I'm so happy to have you on. This is only our second meeting somehow after we finally met at a WIFT event this past August, so I'm so excited to really talk with you today after hearing nothing but wonderful things about you.
And side note, the WIFT event that you did, phenomenal.
God.
It was really nicely
you.
done. Yeah. I know that was your first one.
Yes.
But you did, right out the gate, you did an amazing job.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be a part of WIFT. But you actually just got back from representing Jacksonville at Filmapalooza in Lisbon, Portugal. How was your trip and the big event itself?
Oh, Lisbon is such a vibe. I definitely encourage any travel lover to go. Just castles everywhere. The food's amazing. The people are very warm. And in regard to Filmapalooza, what I love about it, so me and my husband, we celebrate our anniversary in February. But when we became city producers for the 48, we realized that the Filmapalooza was in March. And so every year we would always travel on our anniversary. And so we said, you know what? We love the community so much and we love what we do, and we can't afford to do this twice. So, why don't we just make our anniversary and celebrate our anniversary in March along with celebrating Filmapalooza. So we always make time to just spend time together. But also what I love about Filmapalooza is as a city producer, it's helped me grow because I'm meeting all these city producers from around the world, from all continents, and they come with such great ideas. And then, I'm thinking I'm just this newbie city producer from Jacksonville, and they love what I have to say too. And it just feels like family, and we all just help each other grow. So that's been great. And then when filmmakers come, I'm so excited for the world to see their film because, our city, we do a really good job with supporting one another and celebrating, what they've done. But to have them go and someone who barely can speak your language tries to tell you and communicate to you that they love your film, that is amazing to me. So I definitely love when filmmakers get to go. And this last Lisbon, I thought no one was going. So I was like, oh, none of our filmmakers are going. And then Alyssa Mooney, she was the actress in the winning film for the 48 this past season. She popped up.
Oh, good.
And she was like, yeah, I was traveling with my husband and I wanted to see the film, and we were able to get them both to go to the award show. So it was really nice. It was really nice. This year was really nice.
That sounds wonderful. And every year you've gone, and you've even gone to Cannes to promote Jacksonville, which is amazing.
Yeah. I never thought that would happen. And it's so funny. So the filmmakers that won that season, we did something different where we hadn't had filmmakers go, and we're like, tired of filmmakers not going. We're like, come on, you got to go. We could, because we were just like, I know you'd understand once you went. So that year we decided that any profit that we made, we would put it towards flights it was just 2 flights.
Oh, wow.
One first class. It was, they, bring a carry-on, but we wanted them to experience it. And so the winners got to go. And ironically enough, they won the whole thing. And so we're happy for them. We're excited, and they're going to Cannes, and we're like, we'll go too to support. And they're like, they made us feel like, even though we didn't make the film, they were like, if you didn't help continue the 48, this moment wouldn't have happened. Because I was like, this is y'all's moment. I don't want to, y'all did the thing. We're just the city producers. And they really made us feel special in regard to saying, like, it's almost like basketball or football. There's the coach. The coach never plays, but the coach gets the ring too. So that felt special to bring that home to Jacksonville. And then to go to Cannes, the city alone, again, is just beautiful. France is beautiful. And then to just walk that staircase, like all, you know what I mean? And not fall. And I didn't fall. And then to see that film with, again, another international audience, and just to be in that city where all these great films are being screened, and theirs is considered a great film. It's a great short. So yeah, it was very much an honor to be the city producer, and it felt like a mom and dad moment, and we were just watching our kids do their thing. It was great. Yeah. And
you went, I think, in 2023, right? So that was a good year for film.
That was a good year for Jacksonville film, man. Yeah. We definitely, that was the year that I feel that our indie filmmakers got international people to understand Duval.
Really?
Like to this day, I meet filmmakers and they'll say Duval, because they really just remember. And even this past FILMA, they did FILMA celebrated 25 years of doing 48-hour film project, and so they wanted to show all these iconic films from over the years, and Threshold was one of them.
Good.
Threshold, yeah. So we're very proud of them, that team, and we're very proud of the city, and it just represents all the hard work that all indie filmmakers do in this town. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that Jacksonville had their moment at Cannes. Of all the film festivals, Cannes is massive.
Yeah.
Like, you got to go on the stairs. That's so cool.
And did not fall. Let me tell you, because I was a little nervous, but yeah, it was great. And we got to see a screening. Robert Rodriguez, we got to see his film, and he was in the building. And Adam, that's his favorite, that's right? His guy. Yeah. And so it was like, Mama, we made it moment. It felt really good. And then we watched Thelma and Louise out on the beach in the Cannes lawn chairs with the Cannes screen, all dressed up in our, suits and dresses. And they just go out their way to really make you love their city, but love film in such a different way. And remember, like, you will remember watching Thelma and Louise that way forever, you know what I mean? Or seeing Robert Rodriguez film that way, or seeing Threshold that way. Yeah, for sure.
That's very exciting. We're going to be talking about the 48 and LOL Jax later in our interview. But a question I often like to begin with is, has there been a film that you would say is a milestone in your life? A film that has had a significant impact on you?
Ooh, I always have a tough time, but I'll give the disclaimer as to why. So my love for film, I've always loved film. Everybody should love film. I grew up watching TV and movies just like everybody else, but music is my heart song.
Yeah.
And so what brought me the connection to film was the soundtrack had to be lit. Like, it had to be a vibe, or just it had to be some kind of musicality for me that was just as vital as watching the actors do these epic performances. And so when I was a kid, Sister Act 2, okay? And so, I grew up in the church, and to watch these kids, you know, a little bit older than me, but, you know, we kind of struggle at that age with, you know, how do you show your Christianity while in school? And so to watch them perform these beautiful choir songs, but their way, hip hop, you know, like what I grew up to listening to, R&B, hip hop, and to then later see these kids as adults and it's Lauryn Hill. You know what I mean? Like it was such a time for me, and that film, to this day, the music of that soundtrack, whenever I have to do, I have to be a church counselor for my teens during summer, and we have to do songs, I will make them do Oh Happy Day, but from Sister Act 2 soundtrack. So that was very defining for me. I love Whoopi Goldberg growing up. I remember Color Purple. That was very iconic and important to watch as a kid and for my culture. But to hear that was so fun and just, you know, real. It felt like real life, you know, and so I enjoyed that movie. So that was definitely the one for me.
Since music was the first art form you fell in love with, what are some of your favorite needle drop moments in cinema?
Ooh, needle drop moments in cinema. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Good questions. I love it.
Thank you.
So obviously Sister Act 2, I loved when they had that moment, and I'll do a different one as well. But since I said Sister Act 2, I'll start with that to get my gears rolling with another. But with Sister Act 2, when Cheryl Lee Ralph's character, right?
I love her on Abbott Elementary. I know that's TV, but I love
Abbott. First, I love Abbott. I love Quinta and Abbott and all the whole squad, right?
Quinta's so important in the industry right now.
So important.
I love her.
Yes, 1000%. And so Cheryl Lee Ralph, she plays the mom of Lauryn Hill's character, and Lauryn Hill had just snuck out because Lauryn Hill, Cheryl Lee Ralph's the father of her daughter. He was a musician, and obviously that relationship didn't work, but what they got out of it was a beautiful daughter. And so she's very protective of her child over music. And she does not want her daughter in any way doing music, not even to the point of like gospel music. You know what I mean? Like it did something to her that her daughter would never understand, and she shelters her from that. And you can see it through the film. So then you have this moment where, you know, the kids have to have permission slips to go on this trip to do the competition, the choir competition. And Lauryn Hill's character doesn't have the heart to tell her mom. So she just kind of forged that signature, and she's like, I'm just going to have to face the music when I get home, but this is important to me. I love my mom. I can't face her and ask. I know she's going to say no. Like, I just can't. So she goes off, and the mom obviously finds out. So the mom's there. And of course, it's at this pivotal time where she gets to hear her daughter sing and do her thing. And it's just this tender moment of a mom realizing that whatever I had, whatever traumas or whatever I was protecting you from, I have to let you be. And so that was very important. And then, of course, obviously they do great and they win. Spoiler, sorry, you guys. But it was such an iconic moment for me. Another film in cinema, I'm not going to lie, it sounds cliche, but I'm going to go there. So Bad Boys for me. I am a big comedy fan, so I grew up with Martin and I grew up with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and to have these two iconic, Will was obviously a rapper and from Philly, and I was born in Philly, so there's a connection there, right? But you know, he did his comedy chops thanks to Quincy Jones giving him this opportunity to do Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's you know, everybody knows Fresh Prince, so I'll give him that comedy chops, but Martin Lawrence just, you know, he breathes comedy. So it's not the same, but they both are very funny. And so to put these two iconic people that were still becoming on the screen, and then to hear later the story that wasn't even supposed to be the original pairing. It was supposed to be Dana Carvey and John Lovitz, and somehow it didn't work out. And I thought, and listen, I love Saturday Night Live, so I was for him, and I love John Lovitz. And so that would have been fine, but the fact that it never came to be, and now you have these two people that are doing a film together, it blew my mind. And so I just love the opening scene of Bad Boys. It's stupid because they're literally in this car. Will Smith's character is this rich kid, but he's a cop. And then you have Martin Lawrence's character who's a family man and like every dollar matters. You know what I mean? Yeah. I love my job, but I also do it for my family. Like I got to put food on the table. And they're in this rich sports car of Will Smith's character, and they're just riffing and just talking, and then they get robbed. And in the midst of getting robbed, they're still arguing because we don't know, but then you see how much of a distraction it is, and you just like instantly get to see the chemistry. And that was fun for me, seeing how in just literally one opening scene for them when they come on the screen, to see that and to see them actually like show you in just a minute and a half, 2 minutes, however long it was, this is the ride you're about to be on for the next 20 some years, because they made more than one film. And it worked for me. I will always, they can make it till they're blue in the face. I will continue to watch. I love that chemistry. So that was another pin moment. And it wasn't the opening scene, but it was the first time they came on camera, because the robbery scene actually happened first. Yeah. But so that was another one for me. I'm trying to think if there's another one. I always love one-shot takes. So any film, I'm a sucker for it because I know it's an art to it. It's a dance. And so to see that on screen, so like, you know, Scarface, there was a scene in Scarface where they did a one-shot take. That stands out to me. But if they can do that and master that dance and have you just like go through so many rooms and so many conversations and so many people and so much going on to get to this one moment, it does something for me. And then was I can't think of the name of the movie, but that was another one take that was super hilarious. And then
tell me
out.
Who's in it, then I can probably
it was
help.
Bradley Cooper and it was Christian Bale.
American Hustle?
Yes.
Great film.
And it's the scene where he's doing the comb over and he's just like taking his time with this look. And then, you know, he walks into this meeting and they start going at it. And the first thing that guy does is just like messes up his comb over. And it just know how much time he took into it. It landed. And I was like, why are we spending so much time on this shot? Yeah. And to see it land, chef's kiss for me. And it stood out. It just stood out. It's the randomness little things that and I have a horrible memory. So if you can make me remember it, that's cinematic to me.
Well, they say if people can come away with just remembering how you were made to feel by a film, then that means more than remembering the dialogue or the story. It's the feeling that lasts in the audience.
1,000%. 1,000.
Do you think that because you moved a lot as a kid, since your dad was in the Navy, is partly why you developed an interest in film?
Ooh. Let me see how I can connect that. I'll give a little background on it to get to there. My dad was in the Navy, so I was born in Philadelphia. I spent some time in Virginia, went back and forth to Jacksonville, my dad's last stint in the Navy, his last 4 years before he retired. He was like, do you want to stay in Virginia? Do you want to go back to Florida? And we chose Florida. I just love Jacksonville, and I am an only child, so I knew I wasn't gonna be the child that stays in my parents' house forever, but I knew I just have to be in the same city with my family.
Yeah.
In regard to film, I don't know, but it definitely persuaded my music, which then does connect to film, so I can go through that way, because when I lived in Virginia, that was during the time where Missy Elliott was like big, Pharrell, Timberland, Aaliyah, Genuine, like that. And we would get that, and we would get that sound fresh off the street. Nice. They would do free concerts. Like we just were in that city. It was such a time. Yeah. And so I am trapped in that time when it comes to like, what's your favorite, style of music? I'm always going to say Missy Elliott is my girl. And to this day, I'll go to any concert she performs, and she performs it with perfection to me. Yeah. So music-wise, it definitely influenced me, because then when I came to Florida, I remember the first time I heard T-Pain, like before he was a star. And we were just talking about the other day, me and my husband, about, hey, name some musical artists that when you first heard them, you knew they were going to be something. And I was like, remember when we went to see T-Pain? Like we were going to Brian McKnight, who's an R&B singer, and T-Pain opened up, who's a rapper, and we heard the sound, and it was amazing. So I definitely will say it influenced music, but in regard to film, I will say sure, but it's a different way about it. What I love and I miss and I cherish it so much. I remember my parents would always do the drive-in. And so my connection there is I was always fortunate to live in cities where we had drive-ins. And, you know, I could be in the back seat because I'm an only child. I get the whole back seat to myself in my PJs and watching films. And I have family in South Florida. They have, and it's still there, I believe, but don't quote me. But they had a really huge, drive-in. And I remember going with family to watch it. So that would be my connection to film. It's just when I would see it. That was always fun to do it that way. Yeah. I love theater. I do love seeing it in person. But yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm that girl. If you ask me which I prefer, I probably prefer watching it in the car, know, from the big screen, eating and dressing comfortable and just being in this little bubble with the people that I wanted to be there with, and still having that experience of we're all talking about it, we're all laughing, crying, doing all the things like a real audience would, but being in that bubble with the people you intended to watch it with, and not be deterred by somebody else eating popcorn in your ear or whatever, I know it. Right? Yeah. So I enjoyed the drive-in. So that would be my connection. There you go. I brought it home.
Do you have a drive-in experience that comes to mind as something you really cherish? A certain film that you saw there?
Yeah. I definitely with my family I cherished, but I will say, because we were talking about dogs off the air, so I will bring this story. There's a film that my husband's cousin, so it's my cousin too because we're married, Melissa Ellswick, and she wasn't Ellswick at the time, she was Reyes, but she took me to this film and it was called Love Actually.
Oh, wow.
And I'm gonna be honest, I hadn't watched the trailer for it and I was like, how did I let her, what? Wait a minute, what's out? That's what, I just really poo-pooed on, and I didn't know anything about it except the name. I didn't even know it was I didn't even know anything. I knew nothing.
You went in blind to Love Actually.
Completely blind. And when I walked out, I thanked her for I was like, I'm so glad you didn't let me talk you out of that film. And to this day, every Christmas, I would watch that film, in the Christmas season. Didn't have to be Christmas Day. And it'll get dark, but it's a beautiful story. One of our dear friends, Max, we were talking about it one particular Christmas, and Christmas Eve, at my mother-in-law's house. And I was telling her, hey, she's like, what are you going to do? And, and she said, I'm going to watch Love Actually. And I said, I love Love Actually too. And so I said, okay, we're going to watch Love Actually on Christmas Day together. She passed away Christmas Day.
No. Oh, so that's brutal.
I know it sounds dark, but
she
had such a beautiful Christmas Eve, and everybody, because we all got together as family on Christmas Eve, to party and open gifts and all these things. And then we all do our own separate little Christmases. She was glowing that day. She was playing with babies. She was just being max times 10.
Yeah.
And so that movie hit in a different way. So it went from my husband's cousin, me talking smack, and then coming out a believer. And then to have someone that the last thing we said is we promised we'd watch this film. And, Christmas morning, we spent it in the hospital. And I literally, when all was done, I think it was almost about to be a new day, I watched it for her. And every Christmas, I watch it in honor of her. And so I watched it in the drive-in. When Sunray was doing the drive-in, it was around the pandemic-y times, and they did that drive-in. And so they did Love Actually. And so we brought our puppy. And, me, husband, and the puppy, the puppy got his snacks, we got our snacks, and we're watching Love Actually because we keep this honor for our dear friend. And my puppy passed away like
No.
3 days, like 2 or 3 days later.
Oh my
after,
God.
you know, it was, but now I have it for him too.
Yeah.
So it was just, even though it's surrounded by, I know, I don't know why I talked about the dark, but I'm trying to let you know that it was, even though it's sad they're gone, I have these moments of cinema that bring me joy and remind me of pets that bring me joy, or people and humans that brought me joy.
Yeah.
So I'm forever grateful to Melissa for bringing that film into my life. And I'm just always going to be tethered to it in such a beautiful way and find the love and the joy and the memories of people and pets that are connected to it, because it just happened that way in life. Yeah. So that's my story.
I applaud you for sharing that, especially around the holidays. It's tough. I actually, just a quick little thing, I lost my grandfather at the beginning of the year.
I'm sorry about
and
that.
oh, thank you. And he's a big film aficionado. We always argued who knows cinema more. And one of the films that he loved, which funny enough, I would sometimes forget because it's so random, is the Bridget Jones movies.
Yeah.
And I just have been watching them more often than usual because I remember our conversations talking about this film and talking about this one, and it
keeps you connected.
Yes, absolutely.
It keeps you connected, and when you miss someone or you just want to be reminded of their essence, cinema can do that. Music can too, you know. So both to me are vital and intricate, and so that's a real thing. For sure, I can totally see why you would do that. That makes sense. Yeah,
I felt it was being pulled, like I had to watch it in honor of him, and it just speaks to the many ways that cinema is powerful and connects us all. It's a very powerful art form.
Yeah.
Let's see. You earned your college degree in sociology, the study of people, to put it so simply. Would you say that how you watch films and understand characters has changed since studying sociology?
1000%. How I see people in the world, how I see characters. And honestly, when people ask, so besides music, so music's my first love. That's just, I wish I would have did it the right way and learned how to play some instruments. But I was a DJ once upon a time.
That's
so
true, yeah.
That's my musicality connection. But in regard to people, when I look at film outside of the music, I want to either hate them, love them, want to marry them, want to give them a hug, want to help them solve whatever, want to just have them cry. Like, if I don't feel anything of that, then to me, something, I won't say it's a bad film, I'll just say something's missing.
Yeah.
That lost me. Characters are so important to me. I those are just as vital as the pinpoints that you were talking about earlier in cinema. Characters are just, they're flawed, they're human, they're great, they're heroic. There's so many things that we are and what we want to be, and it teaches us what's right and wrong. Like, there's just so much to characters. And we were talking about traveling. So in regard to outside of cinema, one of my favorite things to do while traveling, like if you want to be my best buddy with travel, you gotta be prepared to just people watch and literally create stories like we know these people. Me and my husband, or me and girlfriends that I take on travel, we will literally sit in cafes and be like, look at them over there. I know he gonna get it when he get on. Like, we're making up stories in real time. And so I just enjoy, because people are so unique, but then after a while you start seeing patterns in people and you realize how really connected and similar we really are.
Yes.
But I just really enjoy the human form in the sense of, I think it's beautiful that God created us, but also I just enjoy everybody bringing their essence on what, being true to themselves, and that being enough, and that's what makes them unique. If you're being your authentic self, you're already being unique, and that's beautiful. You know what I mean? And so
Absolutely.
I enjoy studying people, not to be a weirdo. So I have to be careful because, I get too invested and then somebody look and I'm like, oh, man.
You don't want to be like the guy in Following, right?
You're right. So I have to watch it. But yeah, I really do enjoy. And on film too, I'm really invested and I really love hearing interviews after, because I see it, and as filmmakers and as lovers of film, you see those little details when people do their hair a certain way, when people move a certain way, talk, a reflection in voice tone. Why did that person choose to smoke that cigarette that way? Like all those little things. That's great. That's gold to me because it adds up and it lets me know, and it's all a part of the storytelling. And so, like last year. Even though they won the Oscar this year, Sinners, that was like hearing Michael B. Jordan do the interview and talk about him and Ryan Coogler and then also to all the other characters, because he played 2 characters, really 3, but hearing him go down the rabbit hole of explaining how he did his research to study twins and how he had to physically maneuver that logistically on the screen. I'm like, okay, I got to do whatever I do to this character. I got to know to do, and it's like, so like not even getting his cues yet from Ryan Coogler. Him in his head figuring these things out was like beautiful. And then there's this character that played, and she was saying she's the one that lets the spirits in. But she talked to Ryan Coogler about the character. She says, I really want to make a liberty here of making it be known why she's doing it. And so they worked it out to where it's understood that she thought she was protecting her family. It wasn't the right decision to do that because it appeared selfish because you're in a room with a bunch of other people. But they made sure that it was intricate to the storytelling of making sure you knew that she made these choices for her family. Her family was first. Right or wrong, everybody can understand that. You know what I mean? And what would you do in that moment? So I loved how, like, hearing all these backstories of why, because when I watched the scene, I was like, oh, this girl, oh my, that's so selfish. But then when I heard the backstory about it and then I watched it again and I'm like, I didn't hate her. I was like, I don't know what I would have done, but I get it. So I love that for me. And that's what sociology does in regard to the filmmaking process for me. Yeah.
Actually, I did want to ask you about Sinners because you were on First Coast News and you provided an Oscars recap and said after his Best Actor win, Michael B. Jordan is officially a legend.
Yes.
He's a favorite of mine as well, but when did you first become a fan of his?
So listen, I remember him from The Wire.
Wow.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
But honestly, Fruitvale Station, and the only reason why I go there, even though he had other films too, I know he's talked about this in the past where he liked playing characters that there was, how do I say this? There's no ethnicity attached to it. Anybody could play it.
Yeah.
You go in and you go to and it's the best guy that gets the job. And he's done so many of those roles. But what made me enjoy Fruitvale Station is because it was film that was very important for the culture for me. And while I watch all kinds of films and my military background, it's, military, we're rainbow diversity, and that is my heart song to that. But also too, it's important to tell stories so we know our why. And sometimes also bringing awareness that for me too, I watch all kinds of different films because I want to know where my blind spot is. And for that film, I thought he did a lovely job of representing a real life story of a tale that unfortunately happens again and again and again in society in that particular way. And then the fact that Ryan Coogler and him partnered up for the first time.
Yes.
And it was great. And so I was invested in that journey. And so I love Creed. I love their partnership.
Creed?
So Creed, that would be Adam's favorite of it. He loved the Creed series because he was a big Rocky fan.
Yeah.
Obviously Philly. So
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, I am very, very familiar with the Rocky series, but I will say what I loved about Creed, and that kind of takes it out of Michael B for a second. I thought it was nicely done to continue the story and have it segue in a way to where it's like Rocky can ride out into the sunset and here's a new. I thought they did it beautifully, and Michael B was the perfect casting to continue that in that way. But what I loved is we got to see Rocky, and Adam hates that I don't know if he hates that I say that, so I won't say it like that. But I'm sure somebody will think it. But we saw Rocky so powerful, boxer, and all. He was just always a tough guy. But to see the loss of a love so deep change this tough dude into this human, like it took him from superhero to just a normal human dealing with grief.
Yeah.
And watching him go to the gravesite to see Adrian and like all those just really somber moments were beautiful for me. And I thought Stallone out of the Rocky series, that was my favorite, because how do you take a tough guy and show his vulnerability? That was my favorite for the Rocky series, even though that was Creed. And then, of course, Michael B was there to do his storyline and kind of show you him dealing with his grief, with the loss of his father, and how do you continue legacy. So it was a beautiful story. But on the flip side, I really loved that Rocky side. And I loved, it felt genuine. These two humans, these two characters come together, and you see the passing of the baton so genuinely. And I thought Ryan Coogler did a wonderful job with that.
Absolutely.
And then with Black Panther, I was not a comic book reader. I collected the comic book cards. I actually liked Archie comics, so I would read Archie comics.
Okay.
So I like comic books, or I would see the Sunday papers, so I'd do that. That was like my comics. But I would collect the cards, and I would have these cards. And so to watch, going back a bit, all the Marvel, all the DC, I'm seeing the stories like, I didn't know that. And that's why this card makes it. Like, it's like I can piece my cards together. So the kid in me came alive with that. Black Panther was such a movement, and it was so beautifully done. And it just brought pride when there was a time where we kind of needed it for that particular, for our culture. And I thought it was just beautifully done, and Angela Bassett is a queen in my world, so that was great. Watching Michael B. Jordan play a bad guy was great for me. He did it so well.
Could do anything.
And then to Chadwick Boseman, to hear the backstory of how he battled things so quietly, and yet he gave such graceful performances, and they created this safe space for him to do what he did. It's the backstory is even more important for me, but it makes it that much more important for me to enjoy the film. Like, I need that. And I thought the cast was great. And so here we are on the next one, and he's no longer there. And that was at the time that I had lost my dad. Like, I had lost my dad just prior before. And I remember speaking of seeing in the theater, I saw that in the theater. Shout out to Trey Ford, who did Black Film Matters. He still does Black Film Matters. He does immersive experiences for Black cinema. So if you're going to see Black Panther, you got to dress up. He's going to have the drummer. Like, he makes it immersive.
I love that.
And so that was the second time I'd gone to that experience with Trey. And, watching them honor him made me remember my dad. And, I'm glad that, me and my mom took on the task of making sure his final send-off was beautiful. And what was even great, I was private about his battle until it was done, because my dad was very private about his battle. So it was similar in that way. And we always try to be protective of him, so that felt connected. But my husband, when I was, so just consumed with my grief, consumed with just trying to make sure family's good, and me and my mom planning this funeral. And Adam kind of quietly let the film community know. And so I'm, talking and greeting and all these things. And then as I'm leaving out, I am getting hugs by people from the film community. That was beautiful too.
Yeah.
So very much connected to the Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan experience. It's always been some way important for me, and it did something to me, and I left feeling something different about myself. And to watch that on the screen when Trey did it for it just was like icing on the cake. So that was great. And then Sinners, of course, that connection. With a group of artists, we all drove down separately, but we all landed at the same biggest screen theater in Miami.
Oh, you went all the way down
We went down there, girl, because I had to do it right. I had to do it right.
I respect that.
And it did not disappoint.
I bet.
To see it on that giant screen the way he intended it, it just hit all the boxes for me. And I think Bad Boys was the first film that I watched so many times that I'm too embarrassed to say how many times. Sinners is about to be, it's still a ways to go, but I got years ahead of me. So it's one of those that's going to be I'm going to embarrassingly watch it so many times. And I've already watched it at least 15 times.
Really?
Yeah. And if anybody says, I've never seen it, let's go. Let's watch it. I mean, I will stop shop right now and watch it. That's how much it was, because I thought they just did a brilliant job of, again, the music. Yes.
Oh, the music.
And to have it all about the music, and even to remind me of, I say I'm from Philly, but I also, I have family in South Carolina. So from the South, so I have roots in the South as well. And so to hear those reminders of how, music was like that fine line of secular versus, hymns, and how, it's the devil's, and to just watch it on the screen be all these sayings that you would hear from family or people with Southern roots. It was just nice and warm and comforting. And then to have it be a whole nother thing and have that horror element, which me and my husband love, that was great. So yeah, Michael B. is legendary because I feel like anything he does, he nails it. And he really is a true artist that he really studies the character, and he breathes life into the character in such a way that no matter if he's a bad guy, he's a good guy, he's, dealing with grief, whatever, you're seeing the last night of his life alive. Like all these, any character he played, I rooted for them.
Yeah.
I was in. And so that's why I think he definitely has what it takes to be a legend. And, he can do no wrong. And then to find out he's an awesome human in real life too. That's just like extra. But he really does do a brilliant job for me. With just even if I went down that partnership, he really did a good job in cinema for me.
Well, Coogler and Michael B. Jordan are becoming one of the best director-actor collaborators of our time in cinema as a whole.
Yeah,
they're fantastic. I'm so excited for what they do next.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, you've been involved in Jacksonville's film community for 20 years now, firstly through doing a variety of roles in short films made under the production company Argylle Forest Films. One of my favorite short films is the Real Housemonsters of Florida, a project that you produced, edited, did the makeup and sound for, as well as starred in. You played Stephanie, a member of the book club that recently welcomed a new member, Dracula, and he's arguing with you about your thoughts on the book Twilight. Love that book and the movies. I know Adam likes to improvise, so was any of that hilarious scene scripted?
It was 1000% improvised. Shout out to JBR. JBR, he does wrestling, but also he's an actor in the community early on. So like when we first came onto the scene and we started doing things, we would see him all about, and he's the same energy to this day. JBR is definitely one of those that can ad lib, and I don't think people use him enough. And it was really fun because I'm not an actor. I will tell people I'm not an actor. People drag me in films all the time. I have to do it because I'm married to that man, and I'll do anything for Adam. I'll do anything for Salinas. You know, he's my Salinas. But people ask me all the time, can you be in film? Like, I haven't taken acting classes. Like, I mean, I like doing stuff behind the scenes because I feel like that's a lot of problem solving, and that works for me.
Yeah.
But in front of the camera, no. But so I do this thing. Adam talked me into it, and he tells me what it's about. And then, of course, there's few lines, and we just have to go. And so my job is to not laugh at this dude with this crazy makeup on, because we just, you know, indie film, we ain't had a budget, you know, and we had to make it work. We had to make it do what it do. And we try to even play into it to emphasize how much we lacked a makeup budget. But anyway, so he's going in, and I mean, there are times where I broke, but then I would try to give it back, and we would lean in, and he would go harder. And so I was very proud of myself of the take that did keep, because that was me improvising and really being present to what he was playing on, and me delivering as best as I could as a non-actor being an actor in my husband's film. But I thought I did pretty funny. I mean, I listen, I don't, there are things that I roll all the time when people put me in it, and I'm like, I just ignore that 10 seconds of me in that film. But that one, actually, I love you for this, because that one I actually it really made me happy, because I really liked to play, and it gave me feels like, not that I'm Saturday Night Live, but it gave me feels like, oh, that's what it's like if you hosted and you're going toe to toe with someone on the cast and having to like do the thing. So it gave me that vibe. And there's one other where I got to be funny. No Laughing Matter.
Oh my gosh.
I got
that line.
Yeah.
What was that line that you said? I have it in my notes here, but it was so funny. I watched it back today.
And that was an improvised line. We improvised that. They just said,
"Take your clothes off, clown."
Take your clothes off, clown. That was me, and I thought I was somebody, you know. And it was so funny because I was so proud of that, because that was a 48, and you know, again, I'm whatever Adam needs me to be on that, and he was like, "All right, we're doing this scene, figure it out."
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, and he gave direction too. Don't give me, you know. But like in regard to lines, he was just like, go with what you feel, and he set the vibe, he set the tone, and then we went in, and that was me giving my best. I gave my best, and I was very proud of the eye rolls and that line, and it stayed. And I didn't do that. In fact, I think I did that only in one. I did that one take, because I would say something different every time. Yeah. And that was a take and I was really glad that he did it, because I didn't get to be in the editing room on that one, and I was like, yes, that was gold. So very few times I've been on the screen and really enjoyed seeing myself. Other times I cringe. I appreciate you bringing up House Monsters, because that was a fun moment. That was a fun moment for sure.
It was so funny. And then when he goes back to bite you right behind you, like, you must not have known.
I didn't know. I didn't know, because when we did the multiple takes, he didn't do that. And so he was always doing something different. So I had to be on my toes. And I hear people all the time how actors say it's about that give and take, and you want that. And so that was fun, because, you know, I'm not an actor, but that's when I understood it, and so for anything for me, being able to play a little bit, that gave me the understanding of what it meant when people say those things. Yeah. And he was totally playing every take. He was a fool. And to this day, anytime Adam will throw him in something, he is a true fool. It is a joy it's just as much joy to watch JBR interact with people, Devin as well.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy Ryan, because when we did Larry Christmas,
them
two started and
so
watching.
funny.
But to watch all that banter behind the scenes is just as funny for me as watching on the screen.
Yeah.
And so it reminds me of seeing shows, and you know how you watch comedy shows, like how we're talking about Abbott, or seeing shows that we grew up to, and you'd see them at the end of credits, sometimes they'll show the bloopers.
Yeah.
And you felt like you got a little glimpse of to what it was like to be on that show.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like, I get to see bloopers in real life all the time, and it's the best. So yeah.
I love those shorts, and that line that you had in No Laughing Matter was probably the best line in the film.
Thank you.
It cracked me up when I watched it back a second time today. I was like, oh gosh, I forgot how funny that line was.
Thank you. Again, we lacked makeup budget and we lacked locations, but what we had was heart and fun, and it was great, and we very much enjoyed it. So thank you to all 12 people who watched it. No, I'm just
playing. That No Laughing Matter won the.
No,
48,
I'm
so
just
that
being
did
funny. I'm being funny. Don't mind me.
Well, actually, you did mention you didn't want to be an actor, and you have had several parts in several films and taken on various roles, but you didn't want to be an actor or director. Mm-mm. So was it hard for you to figure out exactly what you wanted to do in film?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Thank you.
I'm grateful you asked that, because I always struggled. So I'll back up. Adam, I knew he loved film. As a teen, you know, when we went out on dates, we always went to films. Oh, I'll tell you a fun story about that too.
Yeah.
But so I'll come back to that.
Okay.
But anyway, so I knew Adam's love for film. Adam knew my love for music, and together he loves music. He goes to concerts. I do the film thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so when he did the 48-hour film project, him and his friends are like, we're gonna do this film project, and we're just like, okay, well, all right, we ain't got nothing going on Saturday. So we joined in just to support, and we didn't know, like, at least for us, we didn't know what we were doing, but they were having a good time. They made us feel comfortable and safe and allowed us to play, and we finished it in 48 hours. Like, we finished it. Like, one, we finished it, and two, we finished it in 48 hours. Yeah. Oh, I thought I was winning in life, right? I was like, wow, okay. So, but I was doing it because, you know, I wanted to support my husband and just have fun with family and friends on this weekend. Mm-hmm. So it was always fun. And then, you know, when we pivoted after he won and we were doing other things with it, and he definitely was invested in this, I mean, because he had at that point was still doing like the normal 9 to 5, and then you have the passion and the, you know, moonlighting, right?
Yeah.
And he really was like, no, this is it for me. This is endgame. Like, I want to do film some way, somehow, or I just want to be in that industry. And I understood that. So I wanted to always be a supportive spouse to that, because I know not always people support the artists, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I struggled with it. I was always there. Adam is such a great mentor to me, because he always was the one that allowed me to take chances. He's like, do you want to film? All right, well, let's try it. And he would give me some advice, and he'd let me fly. And he'd be honest. He's like, that shot wasn't great. That shot was good.
Wow.
Do more of that. And he would always talk to me. But he always do it in such a way that he knew me, because we've known each other since we were kids. He knew how to talk to me in a way to where he didn't make me feel like an imposter. So he is my best partner in that way. And so I always took chances. I would take chances with being in the editing room. I would take chances with chopping up the scripts and like, you know, helping with wardrobe. And then when we did Let Me Be Corey, you know, I, you know, got to do a lot of that pre-production stuff, like a lot of the props that we were getting, you know, and it wasn't just, and shout out to KK Cherney. She also was along for the ride too, but it's probably a different experience for her too, because again, Adam allowed us two humans that this wasn't on our vision board, but here we are, and we loved him, you know, because KK has known him since he was a kid, and I've known, the Cherneys, we go back, but we have this love for Adam, and we wanted to support Adam on doing his first feature, and I don't know about producing no feature, you know, but I wanted to arrive for him because he was ready. And he said the time is now. So I did whatever I could. I researched as much as I could, and I just gave it my 110%. And that's what I loved. He gave me good advice, but he also allowed me to discover and figure it out. And that's what made me love or respect the craft even more, because a lot of artists, we have to figure it out. So I have that journey too. But the reason why I struggle is because I was doing it all for the love, I was doing it all for love, right? Love for the community, love for my husband, love for the humans that were in front and behind those cameras. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. I enjoy practicing and figuring it out. But I took every project that I did as serious as I could with what I knew at that time, at that moment. And anything that I did, I remembered and knew if I did another film, how to pivot and do it better. So I was studying. In real time. So I don't think it was a hobby for me, but I had to figure out what is my organic voice in this film community? And it came down to the film festivals for me. The film festivals, I like planning things. The logistics sides are fun for me, which isn't really creative, but then I found creative ways to do, I found that creative side, but it all started with, I like logistics.
Yeah.
And so it was easy to do that, and it's not easy. Well, I will say it's not easy. Let me back that up. It's not easy at all.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I felt the most empowered. I felt, and at times you battle imposter syndrome, but when I was doing the thing, and I was in my zone, and a lot of the stuff I did alone.
Yeah.
Because my volunteers are only there on D-Day, and Adam has his marching orders, and I have mine. So I would do a lot of this stuff solo, and it felt real. It felt like I fit in. So I enjoy it, and I am so passionate about it, because for the first time, not that none of those projects didn't matter, all of them did, and all of them gave me the assertiveness of, yes, you are a part of the film community, and yes, people want to collaborate with you, and yes, you are a human people enjoy to be around, but that. What is my title? If I only got tethered to one title, I was struggling with that until I found LOL. And once year one building it, I did not think that at all. But after and seeing the joy and hearing the feedback and, constructive too, what to fix, but hearing mostly positive feedback on, don't worry about the constructive just yet. You did it and we're happy and you brought joy. That was when I was like, that's my title. I am a festival organizer. And so if because we wear a lot of hats in the film community, and I take pride in, being able to say I do that too. But if anybody asks if you got stuck to one title, festival director or festival organizer would be it for me. Yeah.
Actually, to a point that you made, as I mentioned in your introduction, you and Adam are a power couple in Jacksonville. Together and separately, you both have really led the charge in putting Jacksonville on the map as a filmmaking city. In an interview, you said you love being known as the Madrids, but you wanted to do something on your own since you were introduced to the film community through him. Has it been hard to establish yourself on your own as Monique, separate from the power couple you are?
Yeah, at first, for sure. Adam's funny. I'm funny too, but he's such an extrovert. We were talking about being introverts off air, and I'm an introvert. So how I was telling you, like, I have my marching orders, and I'll get in that hole, and I'll do what I got to do, and that's comfortable to me. And then it's like, and now I got to be around people. I don't know what to do. Like, it's really hard for me to. It's just hard for me to do that, or my battery will drain real fast if I can. Versus Adam, he's just such a light, and so the one thing I love, and I'll say this, what I love about us is, the day I met him, he was always a light. So anybody, when you meet him, he's a light. He really is. And there's no jealousy behind that. It's just, that's just who he is, you know? And then when I'm around his family and I hear stories about how, down to like his grandparents, he's a baby, and they're like, he's the one, like Simba. I call him Simba.
Did tell that story.
I call him Simba because I was like, dude, you were the Lion King before
Yes.
Lion King came out, bro.
That's
like,
true. The
you know?
original Simba.
Yeah. So, but to have that affirmation put on your life, that's the journey he's always had.
Yeah.
So the reason why he's so confident is because his ancestors blessed him with that confidence. You know what I mean?
It's true. Yeah.
And so you have to do things big. You have to dream big. And so that's his path. My path is different, but the same. I am an only child, and my parents put a lot of love in me, and they always taught me, if you work hard, anything is yours. And, they were always proud of me as long as I gave my best effort. Hey, if you're going to school, you make good grades, I'm proud of you. Hey, whatever you want to be when you grow up, I don't care what it is. I'm not even going to put that pressure on you. Just figure it out and be the best you can at it. And I'm proud of you. And so they gave me affirmations too, but it was never like the Simba, you're the one. You
don't hear the score, the famous music.
You know what I'm saying, right? So, so we have these separate journeys. But what we both had together as firstborns is, families that really loved on us and really let us know that anything you set your mind to it, if you believe in it and you work hard, you can achieve it. And so that's why we get along so well, because we have that similarity kind of sort of there. So that's why it's so easy to be the Madrids, because we both were like, no, go harder.
Similar values.
We love each other in public, but like, I trust if I do something, he will give me the real. He'll tell me, nope, that wasn't it today. It is what it is. Shake it off. Do better tomorrow. And he always did it with love. And the same thing with me. I'm like, all right, man. All right, all right. Slow up, or whatever. And we kept it real with each other. And so I love that partnership in that way. But I struggled because, he's a light. I don't mind being his backbone. But, when everybody knows you as the Madrids and you're trying to make your identity separate, and you have this bigger than life personality around you, it makes you wonder, well, what is my personality? And let me back that up. It's not that I didn't know what my personality is. I was just like, well, I'm no fun, or at least that's what I thought, right? I was just like, there's hang out with him. He's the fun one. And I don't know how to say that in an elegant way, just trying to be organic, but it's just like, Adam, I understand his journey so well. So it's not even a slight to me. Like I said, I've enjoyed, being his partner for all these years. But it's just figuring out, like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, when he was young, down to he knew what he wanted to be when he grew up. And then it just kind of solidified it once he was actually doing the thing. He always talked that he wanted to do film, right?
Yeah.
I was still trying to figure it out. To this day, like, I feel like I just started figuring it out. You know what I mean? Late in the game. So it's like, I'm still trying to navigate me, and here he is. So it wasn't so much the people, just me figuring out me. Like, okay, my partner allows me this space to be his equal. What does that look like?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? He's saying, do you, and I'll support you. What is it you want to do, Monique? And so that's the struggle that I dealt with. But then when I kind of figured it out, and I had to figure it out, like, I literally just like, I just want to do this thing. I want to do this thing. And now it's like, okay, you pick the thing. Now you need to learn it, grow from it. And how do you show excellence in it? Because you can't just say, I want to be a basketball player, and then magically, poof, you can do these three-pointers.
It's not like the Matrix where you can be programmed.
You know what I mean? Exactly. So I had to figure that out. And so it was tough, because he already was on this path of knowing what he wanted to be, and he was accelerating, and I'm there supporting. But as he's supporting me, I'm like, well, what is it? How do I do this? Now we got a COVID year. How do I navigate that? Like, all these challenges. And so I was grateful to have a really supportive partner that was there when I needed grace. And I'm grateful for my family who just supported me no matter what. And then also to the film community that, rode the wave when I was trying to figure out, okay, I implemented judges. I'm implementing vendors now. I'm putting the musical act, like, every year I would throw a new thing in. Yeah. And they enjoyed it, or they let me know, like, no, keep doing the thing. And so I'm very grateful for this journey. It wasn't the easiest path, and it wasn't the straight path. I had to figure it out, and a lot of questioning myself, versus Adam was very slow and steady, and he always was very confident in, no, I'm right where I need to be, and I'm lining myself up to be right where I want to be. And so it's two different paths, but at the same time, he might be like, pew, but I'm also, I'm catching up. You know what I mean? And you have to be confident in a relationship, confident in who you are, and to be in a relationship where it's not the same, or it's someone might be accelerating and you're just now going past the starting line. Yeah. So that was always a growing, and I think it built character in me, and I think it built resilience in me, and I think it also solidified our partnership. So, we're no Ryan Coogler or Michael B. That's how much they're together. It's Ryan B. Coogler. No, but
they basically can be Ryan B. Coogler.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But
Michael B. Coogler.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. But their partnership is one for the books. Yes. But it's epic partnerships like that me and Adam strive to be. Whether we're in the same arena or now, I'm now the sole director and owner of that festival. Yeah. And he's now at the film and television office. Right. It still feels like a partnership because I have to support him, he has to support me, but we are, that's a very separate world, and my world is now separated from his. And to have that support has been everything and has built confidence in me. I've always had it, but it just elevated the confidence in me to where I'm no Simba, but I felt like Simba sometimes, you know what I mean? And so it was nice to understand the making of him, because it helped me discover me too. It's a long-winded answer, but I hope that answered it.
I think so, yeah. And was being included in the 40 Under 40 a few years ago a big moment for you personally in getting that solo recognition?
Yeah, it did, because again, all the work, all the inner work, and sociology, and I took psychology classes too, but I called my college experience therapy. Like I paid for therapy for 4 years. Not only did I get to learn about people and studying people and really enjoying being a soundboard for someone, being a shoulder for someone, being empathetic, and really listening to like when I do my festival, what does my audience want and how can I cater to that? Like very people driven. But it was therapy for me. And so, I've been always working on myself to be the best version of me. So that way, whatever I'm doing, I arrive and I give my full self 100% and 110%. And so it meant the world to me to get that award, because it meant that what I did mattered. Yeah. What I did mattered in the film community, in my arts community, in Jacksonville, that I've made a home, and how you're saying. So, when you are a military child, everywhere's home. Everywhere. My home was wherever my mom and dad was. And so for us to finally plant ourselves in a city, and then I had the choice. I could leave. I could, I'm an adult now. I could do what I want, right? And to decide I would like to stay planted in the soil. It meant everything, because it meant that the journey of choice to come to Jacksonville, the journey of choice to meet Adam, the journey of choice to do this festival, all these choices I made in my life, and me really trying to do the work to be the best in every moment and in every choice I made, it meant the world to me that I made some pretty good choices. I feel good, and I feel strong about them. And, I feel like when I'm someone's ancestor, they would be proud.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. You are, as I mentioned, the co-city producer for the 48-Hour Film Project in Jacksonville. It's a worldwide festival, as we've said, where filmmakers have only 48 hours to make a short film. Participants are given the same character, a particular line that has to be used verbatim, and a prop that must be included in the film. The difference between each film is the genre, which is randomly drawn. Who decides on these key components?
Yeah, so it's always headquarters. You talking about like the prop line and character? Yeah. It's headquarters. Yeah, it's funny. We obviously get to know it before the filmmakers come.
Yeah.
But we get to know at like literally 12 in the afternoon before.
Oh.
So like if we're going, I think the event starts at 5:30 or 6 o'clock. Literally a few hours before we learn,
Wow.
oh my God, that's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're racing to make our slides because we'll try to do PowerPoints or whatever so they can take their pictures or whatever. But we literally are just as surprised by it. We get just a few hours heads up, and it's so fun. I enjoy it. And Adam probably misses the competition. I do not miss all that anxiety. I enjoy the different anxiety I get from having to like, okay, the films are in. I got to get it to the judges. I got to do this. We got to put on the screen. We got to, we got like all that other anxiety, the logistical anxiety is what I prefer now.
Yeah.
But it's so fun. Like moments like that, when we get that, it gives me the feels of, I remember when we were making films back in, yesterday, but it gives me those feels for sure.
Yeah. People have shared their reluctance to participate in the festival due to the time crunch of making a film.
Mm-hmm.
Since you've seen firsthand what can come from the 48-hour film festival, which we talked about with Threshold,
Mm-hmm.
what do you tell people hesitant to participate?
Just do it, man. I mean, here's the thing. I've seen some really talented filmmakers get beautiful films done in 48 hours. I've seen them not get it done in 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But every time you do it, you learn something that makes you stronger in your craft. And a lot of filmmakers, that I've talked to, or even actors, when they go on set, they're like, why are we not moving? You know what I mean? Because they know what a 48, you ain't got time to be like hesitating. You got to make a decision now and stick to it. And so I love the challenges it brings, because when you come to resolution in that moment, you're now a stronger filmmaker. Mm-hmm. And whatever you learn in that moment, I promise you will need it on another set. That's not necessarily a 48-hour set. You'll need it on another set, and you're going to be grateful for that moment. So I feel like always obviously make the best film that you can. But if you're just like, what did you learn from it? Because that's the best part. What did you learn from it? So yeah, I think anybody who does the craft and they're scared to do the 48, talk to people who've done it. They'll tell you some stories, good, bad, whatever. And I don't sugarcoat it. Anytime I go and talk about it, I'm always like, it's going to be like the best, worst weekend of your life. You're going to hate.
Best, worst.
Yeah, it's both.
It's one word.
You're going to go through all the emotions in 48 hours, sleep deprivation, anxiety, happiness, all the great anger. You want to kill somebody. You're hungry, all these things.
Yeah.
But it's going to make you a stronger filmmaker. And I say, just take the chance. Take the chance. And if you hate it, you ain't got to do it again.
No one's forcing
but you can say you tried it. And I just think people fear that I think filmmakers, rightfully so, because the craft is so about perfectionism, because the art is so exquisite and beautiful, the final product, right? So I understand the importance of perfectionism, the importance of that high pressure to get this high quality product. And so you feel like a lot of that's going to be lost in 48 hours. And what does that say about you as a filmmaker? Nothing. We understand you made it in 48 hours. Erase all that. Lower your expectations in, people are going to think you're not the great filmmaker that you are because you don't really like the end result. But also pat yourself on the back and say, heck yeah, man, when you've done the thing and you've done it to such an excellence that you weren't even expecting in 48 hours, it goes both ways. Yeah. So I just think people just need to just go in it with no expectation and just get a group of friends that are your filmmakers that are your friends that you trust to see all sides of you, and they know that they're not going to judge you. That's a starter. Mm-hmm. Get your community, get your group that no matter what, we're not judging each other. We're just going to try this out, right? Mm-hmm. And then go from there. And don't worry about it. Everybody knows that we've seen your work. Yeah. We know you're good. But see what you can do in 48 hours. And then what's the lesson, the story, just all of that. It's such a great weekend. Mm-hmm. You're going to remember that time? It's so many things to so many filmmakers, and I just want them to try it at least once. Yeah. And I promise you'll catch the bug. Mm-hmm. I haven't had a filmmaker yet that said, I'm not going to do this again next year. Now, They may say, I need a break, right? Yeah. Then they come back. And I don't force them. I don't sell them on it, and they come back. So I know it tethered them. So yeah, do it. It does something to you. You'll get addicted for sure.
Yeah. This year marks the 10th annual LOL Jax Film Festival. Congratulations on this incredible milestone. I know you've answered this question many, many times, but especially for those not local to Jacksonville, what is the LOL Jax Film Festival?
Sure. LOL Jax Film Festival, love our locals while laughing out loud. The essence is celebrating arts and artists of this great city and reminding them that they're in a great city and that their talent will always be celebrated here. We don't mind if you move away. I know, I did it when I was a kid. We moved around a lot. Whatever my dad orders were, we moved around.
Yeah.
I understand. You go, you do what you have to do. Be true to yourself. But the challenge and the goal of LOL is to feel so celebrated and so loved and feel like you found your community, that if you ever decided you wanted to leave, it's hard. It's like, it's tough. It's like, oh, what do I do? I want to stay. Like, I want us to be an option. I don't want it to be like, bye, I'm gone. Can't wait to get out of this city. And so, because it could easily be that. I have been to New Orleans. Love that city. But
I've been wanting to go. Yeah.
It's a beautiful city. The food alone will get you. And several times I have looked at these houses and said, how much? Jokingly. But, I'm dreaming, right? But I always knew where home was once I made the decision back in 99 that Jacksonville will be my home. And I meant that. And that was a decision I made as a kid, and it still rings true as an adult today. So the goal is to love the local team. And so we have this event, this festival, this 2-day festival, to where we bring talent. Filmmakers will, submit for the short films. Stand-up comedians will submit their stand-up, and they get selected to be in the festival. And then we bring on a musician. On top of that, we'll have local vendors, small mom and pop businesses that are just like the artists. They're indie too in their craft. It's all indie. Amazing. But the power of all that indie in one room, it's like mixing a pot with fresh ingredients and just watching, this beautiful gumbo stew boil, and that once you taste it, you're going to taste all those flavors and you're going to savor it and you're going to be like, that's the best meal you had. And so that's what I want for LOL. I want all these artists to come together and bring their flair and bring their talent. And I want all those people in the room to be blown away from all different sectors. Like I was coming to support my film friend, but that stand-up comedian was great. I was coming because my friend is in the band, but I just fell in love with the vendor person that was selling earrings. I bought like 50 earrings. I want you to, oh my gosh, I love the popcorn kid. I want every bit of that experience to feel love and to feel unique. And when you leave saying, wow, that's cool in Jacksonville. All that was Jacksonville. That's cool. And so that was my love letter to Jacksonville, because while I was not born here, it was a choice to be here, and it's a choice to stay here, and it is my home. And when you're at home and when you invite people into your home, you want to bring your best, you want to be the best host, and you want people to leave feeling like they had a really great experience. So that's what it feels like. Welcome to my home, Jacksonville. And my housewarming party is with art and artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You came up with the idea for the festival in 2016 at another Jacksonville Film Festival. And when you told Adam, his first reaction was to tell you, let me sleep on it. When he said this, did you too need to sleep on it, or were you ready to start making this happen?
So I'm going to be honest, Adam is a big dreamer, but he keeps it real with me. So he's the one I'm going to tell this to. One, if I do it, I know I'm going to need his help. But two, the idea alone, am I crazy? Because he know me, and he'll tell me I'm crazy when I'm crazy. And so I didn't even realize, but in that moment when he said, let me sleep on it, I thought he was saying no, and he was just being nice about it. Maybe because we're around people. Like I was like, I kind of did put him on the spot in the back of the theater around people. So I thought that was his way of saying no nicely in public. And then like he went off because there was an after party and I had to go to work early the next day. So I went home and I went to sleep and I was just like, yeah, I don't you know, I literally thought like, oh man, maybe that was too much, you know? And I was trying to figure out why did I have that? You know, I was stuck trying to figure out why, but I thought like, yeah, so that's a no, but why did I? You know, that's what I was left with. And so when the next morning and he said, yeah, I thought it over, let's do it. I'm like, okay, I just wrapped my mind around the no. And I was just stuck in the thinking, where did this all come from? You know what I mean? Was I projecting something else? And so when he did that, I had a moment of like being kind of stunned. And I was like, but he believed in it. So that is a yes. We are doing it. Okay, we're doing it. Okay, cool. We're doing it. How do I do a festival? That's literally kind of like my thought process. And so I literally thought like, how do I do this? So I wanted to do like how we did with DJing. We DJ'd a lot of weddings. And so I wanted to give the wedding process of a full year. Let me have a full year of figuring out how to make this a reality. And then we did.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history.
Yeah. How early into the year do you start planning the festival?
So that's a tough question because in the beginnings, after August, I would give myself 3 months to breathe. Okay. And then give myself through the holiday season. In January, I'd start all over again because I was always adding something new and trying to figure out the logistics of, okay, I still have the same time frame and I'm adding something big. How do I make that work? Oh, great. Now we have a different venue. How do I, so I always felt like a first. And so when we finally got to WJCT Studios and we kind of mastered it, I had another first. It's now just me. And then I decided, since it's just me, how can I make this easier? How can I make this feasible to where I don't miss my partner? Because I miss my partner, but I can't dwell on that. I have to keep moving forward because this is an event that has to go on. The show must go on. And so I literally had to reimagine it, but I reimagined it in a way that would make me be able to have a better balance of that plus my family life. And so I really did the work, really did the deep work that first 2 years of just figuring that part out to where when it came to year 10, I mean, I did start in January, but it was like mid-month and, and then I would give myself time to be with family too. So it feels like for the first time, like, okay, it feels like a well-oiled machine to where I can do this repetitively and not feel like I'm pulling my hair out and feeling like, whew, now I can breathe because it's done. So I'm really trying to finesse that balance. And I think this was the first year to where, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't start January 1st. Wow. And that felt good. But I mean, there's still work to do and I'm still on the grind and I'm definitely in the trenches now. But it felt very freeing to have that first year. This is the first year and on a milestone year at that, to where I can breathe and smell the roses and enjoy this and really be immersed into celebrate this moment too and really be in this moment. What does it feel like to be celebrating 10 years? Take all that in. So that is something that was important. So I'm glad I did those steps the last 2 years to be allowed to breathe in the midst of building this new season.
Yeah, you created the foundation and now you just followed the routine basically.
Right.
That really set you up to year 10, as you've said.
All right.
So just to confirm, films have to be made after January 2025 and are allowed to be at most 10 minutes. The short doesn't have to be filmed in Jacksonville. It is just required that the filmmaker or someone involved in the production has to be from or affiliated with Jacksonville and the surrounding area in some way.
Correct. Yes, all of the above is true. Yeah, it's local, but I wanted to see how far I can stretch that to make sure that Because I also want to just be welcoming too, right?
Yeah.
I want you to come. I want you to submit. That's a part of why we have the free submissions, and I don't stray from that, because I want people to not feel like, oh, and I don't. For the record, there is no disrespect in me saying this. If you have to do a fee for your festival, I get it. Festivals ain't cheap, people.
Yeah.
To build a festival is not cheap. So I don't poo-poo on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do it because it's a statement of me saying, you're welcome to come. You're
Mm-hmm.
welcome to participate. Don't let the price point stop you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, I would do it, but I can't afford. Well, you can't beat free, so try. I want you to try. And so we've found ways of keeping it still organic, of being local, but how can we stretch that? What does all the ways local look like? Could it be the person that was born in Jacksonville, raised in Jacksonville, but now lives in LA? Does that not make them a Jacksonville? They are, know? And like St. Augustine, you right up the street. I mean,
yes.
Are you not, if you chant Duval and Jacksonville's your team, so I'm trying to stretch those bands to where everybody can feel included, so it feels full and robust. I don't want just 12 people in the building. I'm going to stretch that term to where local expands, but it still gives the essence of Jacksonville. Yeah.
Who makes up the panel that decides which films are awarded what?
Ooh, we keep that a secret. They've been our panel for the same group for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
I won't reveal them, because then I'm afraid somebody will start bribing them and giving them cookies or giving them cupcakes, or hey, I got your Starbucks order. I don't want that, but it is a mix of filmmakers, and it's a mix of people who just love cinema. But the base is they all love comedy. Like, comedy is their thing. But all of them have different variations of comedy. Like, some like this type of comedy, and I like that, because I know what comedy I like, and it may not be everybody's cup of tea. So I wanted that good mix, so that way, even if it's something that I may not found funny, but I thought was a good film, but if it was funny to them, that's what mattered. Like, I wanted that mix, but I don't reveal them, because I don't want anybody to bribe them. I like the purity of it, and I respect because they really take it seriously, and they're passionate, and they also they give me good feedback.
Since this is your 10th year, is this the last year of the LOL Jax Film Festival?
Oh, good question.
Adam told me to ask you
Yeah,
this.
of course he did. So I'm a backstory. I will admit, the last few months, and it was really during the aftermath of year 9. I'm like, it's year 10. Do I keep going? Do I keep going? And because I'm doing it solo, sometimes I do wonder, is it the magic with the two of us? Because this was a brand that we built. And so I was trying to think, like, can it last with just me being the festival director? And what does that look like? And so and then of course, again, I've literally gone and done it without a break. Like, I've seen festivals where they take a break. They just don't do it that year. And I was doing it every year, and then we've added on the other festival. And then, supporting the community. It just was a lot going on. And then I had loss, and I was dealing with grief, and just dealing with a bunch of personal things. And because I was never juggling it successfully, I was just compartmentalizing it. I was like, okay, in this moment I have to deal with this, so I can't think about this. Deal with that. And then it's like, okay, so now we're here. I have to take this hat off, and I have to do that. So that's how I was. I was in survival mode, and the sociology, psychology side of me that prides in wanting to always look towards mental health. I needed to focus on my health. It was to the point to where it's like, am I going to the doctors? Or I would have to shuffle doctor's appointments to, not that there was anything wrong, but I want to maintain, that there's nothing wrong, like, because if you 3 years go by and then you find out you should have, I want to be proactive in my health. Yeah. And in my emotions, and in my presence of my family. And so I was really feeling a little heavy because also too, a lot of my volunteers are my family. Am I wearing them out with my passion? It's already, we've already got Adam passion, going on. And then I threw my passion in that I just kind of discovered in recent years. That's how I felt.
Well, that's not, you don't put yourself in that secondary position. Like, you have these passions, you are valid to have them, and people are celebrating you. And I know one volunteer, Emma Catherine, is very happy to be a part of the LOL Jax Film Festival, and everyone sings your praises. So
yeah, and but it just, and I do know it, but those thoughts creep sometimes. And so I battled that privately. And then I've also talked to a few people that have dealt with it, like have felt like they had tall shoulders and felt like it was all on them at times, and feeling if they're burdening family and friends and all the others. And I thought about it. And then I talked last to the one person that I should have talked to first, Jen Weeks. Jen Weeks, who has been there since day one, is just as equal as a partner as Adam and I. And now it's just me and her. I was like, if she's hyped, I'm going to be hyped. So I asked her and I said, keep it real with me. And she has. And she was like, I'm here. I'm invested. I'm locked in. I enjoy the partnership. She does not like dealing with the logistics. I love dealing with the logistics. I let her zen out so she can go on stage so I could do less of me on stage. It works. What she likes to do, I don't, and vice versa. So I was like, I've been so focused on me and Adam as a partnership because I'm so tethered to him married and all this thing. But I forgot for 2 seconds. I never forgot her, but I'm just saying I was always more focused on that because she was always just in, that I really need to be locked in on her. So it strengthened our bond even further when she gave me that locked in, that I'm locked in until you locked out. Yeah. And, so she's like, I'm in until you say no. And I said, I'm in until you say no. She's like, well, I guess we're not saying no. So that revigorated me. And so once I came to that conclusion, Adam's like, well, you done battled in your head. Why don't we play a little joke? And he kept hounding me about it. And then we go on River City Live. And even at that last one, we said, all right, Rance said it's cool to play the joke. Let's play the joke. So we went on air April 1st to talk about submissions. And Rance asked the question, is it our last year? And so I said, it is. And then April 2nd, Adam revealed the clip that we filmed on April 1st in the studio with Rance of saying April Fools. So it was April Fools. And my husband is a prankster. He's been a prankster for years. Again, we've been pranking each other for years, pranking our family for years. So it was right on par. And then it also kind of solidified of, see, you are meant to do the thing. And now that you've solidified that you keep going. Yeah. So that was his way, comic way of like saying, okay, you struggled with that thought. It's done now. It was not real. And the festival is real. So that was his way. So that's why he wanted you to ask the question.
I was originally going to apologize for asking, but then I saw your interview yesterday and I'm like, okay, I know that you're doing this on April 1st, but today's April 2nd. So I wasn't sure if it was true or not, but it's kind of perfect for the 10 years to make that kind of announcement. Submissions are always open on April 1st. So it was perfect.
Yeah. And then also too, how, like with things that we cherish, especially in cinema, when COVID happened, the pandemic happened, and we couldn't go to the theater, or when Sunray went away, like how did that make you feel? So cherish those things because you just never know. In the blink of an eye, they could go away. People too. So if we gave anybody a heart attack or if we made anybody feel some type of way, just take that with the positive of cherish life, cherish people around you, cherish all the things that are going well in your world. Because you just never know. It can be taken from you in a blink of an eye. But LOL's here. But it was a thought. It was a true thought.
It was a thought.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to hear that it's
it had a happy ending. It
has a happy ending.
Got a lot of DMs. I got a lot of DMs.
I imagine so. Over the years, LOL Jax has expanded in several ways, including early on when a second day was added to incorporate local musical artists. In what ways do you hope the festival will expand in the next 10 years?
Oh, yeah. I definitely want to get poetry in there.
This year, you started getting poets, right? And muralists.
So with 48, we definitely got the muralists.
Oh, that's 48. Okay.
But to the point, as a festival organizer, because even though LOL is my baby, the 48 is so from the beginning that it's been here in Jacksonville. It's just such a fabric in my heart, right?
Yeah.
So if LOL is my birth child, then this is the great adopted daughter I ever had, right?
Yeah.
You know, like they're both my kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as a festival organizer, I always wanted to figure out clever ways of implementing more forms of art, and so with the 48, that just worked great for that.
Yeah.
The muralist, poetry, rap is technically poetry, so technically we did have poetry because shout out to Mal Jones. He wrote our theme song.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. So
you were name dropped twice, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool as a music fan.
I wasn't even expecting that. So that was super cool to have my name in a rap song from a local rap artist that's a legend in our city. So yeah, shout out to him.
Can we rave about Emma Catherine for a moment? Because she's been involved in the festival for several years now, initially as a red carpet interviewer, and more recently has stepped into the role of leading the filmmaker Q&A at LOL Jax. Isn't she incredible?
She is amazing. Listen, that's my girl. Like she calls me mom. She's like, hey mom, hey dad, and I love her parents. You know, Emma is one of those humans that kind of, it's just the essence of what the film community is about, you know, with no agenda, but just pure passion for the arts and wanting to see things grow. Here she comes and saying, hey, I would love to help with the LOL. And, you know, I'm the type of person, I'm always like, oh, you know, I don't want to burn anybody out. So I'm always like asking, like, what do you want to do? And so, you know, she was like, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. And so watching her find these positions within the festival that, one, help the festival continue, like it matters. But then two, also watching her shine and not in a I'm trying to steal a light kind of a way, but just in an organic, she has found not only as being a volunteer, but also she's making LOL feel like a purpose for her. And that's something that I was not expecting when I came up with LOL Jax. Humans like her that said, I'm LOL Jax too. You know what I mean? And feel pride in being a part of the team. And so I salute her because, one, she's just really sweet. Yes. And does bake me cookies. But
her cookies are legendary. I need to have them. They sound amazing.
She needs to make more cookies because those things are the truth. But but she does it like not for, but just like, I just want to feed the community. You know what I mean? Like she's always just a giver. And that's kind of what LOL is about. It's about giving back to the community and giving this platform to allow others to give their art to the world, and then for others to give back to these artists, like supporting them. So she's definitely an essence to LOL for sure.
Absolutely. You both share a passion for merging the artistic communities in Jacksonville. Yeah. Do you think that the various art communities are more united than they have ever been since LOL Jax began 10 years ago? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Since you were talking about Franklin,
my
giving that kudos to me, much appreciative. How happy were we when we all went to the theater and saw Artifice Girl? Yeah. You know what I mean? Here he is doing it in his way, you know, putting Jacksonville on the map, and just also just showing indie art is valid and just as important as these mega blockbusters. And we all were rooting. Yeah. And I noticed that, like, more film premieres are coming out with artists and people are going, and they're excited and they want to hear the stories. I love when we do LOL and the Q&As and people are like hearing the backstories, because remember I said I love backstories, and so now we get to hear the backstories of these short films that are made all around Jacksonville. The support is definitely there. I see people collaborating with one another that I can tell they just met at the festival or met at some other event, and here they are making art. Yeah, that's cool. And I will say, my judges, they're always out of towners. And, you know, because they start to see a lot of the same people in the films, or they look at the credits and they're like, yo, that sound guy is getting around. They are always like, you guys are really collaborative in Jacksonville, because I see the people and their names are rolling on more than one film, and that's really cool because we don't do that in our city. So that's really
Yeah.
nice to hear that, because they didn't have to say that, because all they do is watch the film, give some constructive feedback, and keep it moving. For
Mhm.
them to go the extra mile and say that is great.
Yeah, that's a tremendous compliment. What advice would you give creatives or really anyone who is considering bringing one of their big ideas to life but are hesitant because of the amount of workload that is likely needed?
You just need to come to LOL or go to Creative Veins or go to WIF or go to Jax Film Bar Mondays or go to Jax Creators. You go to these events where creators are. You keep telling your stories out loud. I want to make this film, and explain your challenges. I promise you there's someone there that's going to say, oh, all you need is sound? I know a sound guy. Oh, all you need is an actress? Say less. All you need is someone to proof your writing? I got you. There is someone who can do something for you to push the needle forward. Talk out loud, dream out loud, and let the community help. They want to. They enjoy making films. And if you feel some type of way of like, all these people help me and I don't know what to do, pay it back. Work on their set. What is the asset that you bring? If you're the writer, help them write. If you're the actress, work on their set. If you're the director, give the pointers, be the cameraman, do the thing, but like help each other make the dream move forward.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Monique. I was so excited to have finally met you a few months ago, but I'm even more thrilled to have gotten to know you a bit more today. I always hear the kindest remarks about you through Adam and many within the Jacksonville film community, including Emma, who said, quote, Monique is one of the baddest bitches in Jacksonville, and you're hands down one of the greatest people she has ever met. Thank you for uplifting the city of filmmakers through your kindness, giving creatives opportunities to shine, and for your passion to make Jacksonville known as the filmmaking city it always has been. The last line I was going to say was if the LOL Jax wasn't going to continue, but I can cut that out.
Oh, no. But you know what? If it didn't continue, that quote alone, drop mic, right?
Yeah.
Like that was, thank you, Emma, so much for that. I love her.
Emma's the best.
Emma's the best.
The 10th annual LOL Jax Film Festival will be held on August 1st and August 2nd. Short film submissions opened up earlier this month on April 1st, but the deadline to turn in your short is Tuesday, June 30th. So don't forget to submit your film by emailing submissions@loljax.com. For more details, including requirements for film submissions, go to loljax.com. I'll be sure to let you all know on the All the Film Things Instagram when the deadline is approaching, as well as when tickets for the festival become live. Follow both the LOL Jax Film Festival Facebook page and at LOL Jax Festival on Instagram to stay updated on all of this and more happening with the festival. Is there a film recommendation, a line from a film, really anything you would like to conclude our episode with today?
A film that I would like to conclude with?
Yeah.
Ooh. Huh. Yeah. Okay. I got this.
Yeah.
So a film that meant a lot to me, and it's kind of it's not the same. It's not the same, but it empowered me. Hidden Figures. Hidden Figures, these women were just doing the thing. They didn't realize, I'm not to say that NASA wasn't important. Obviously, they know space is important, but they were just doing their job at the excellence that they knew how. They didn't know that they were going to be making history. And, for me, not that, well, technically LOL did make history. I'm the first African-American female to do a film festival in Jacksonville.
Wow.
But it's not history in compared to their history. But it invigorates me that history can be made simply by doing something you love at the best of your ability, giving it 110%, giving it the excellence that you know how, because it's unique, your form of excellence. And so history can be made simply by just doing the thing. If you don't do the thing, history can't be made. And so I love Hidden Figures for that, because that's a movie that motivated me to just say, I am enough. And what I bring to the table is enough. And what you bring to the table will be enough.
That's very well said. I was so sad to have missed that film in theaters. I need to watch it.
Girl, go check it out.
I know. I'm
Taraji
watching
P.
it now.
Henson. Oh my gosh.
Yes, I
Janelle
love Taraji.
Monáe. Octavia Spencer. Mwah,
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
I don't know if you've seen this film, but if you haven't, this is a recommendation for you. Have you seen Wings of Desire?
No.
Oh.
Tell me about this.
Oh, man. I mean, talk about the power of human connection and seeing the beauty in humanity. Wings of Desire captures that so well. It's a German film by Wim Wenders in 1987. And it's about two angels. One angel doesn't want to be an angel anymore. He wants to be with the humans, to experience the world, to eat an apple, to hold a pencil, like all these little things.
Right.
And from the way you were talking earlier about people watching, I wanted to mention Wings of Desire because I think that film might really impact you.
That's what's up. So when I watch it, I will DM you.
Yes.
And I will tell you my opinion on
Yay.
it. That's how serious I am about that.
I hope you do. I'm very curious your thoughts
Yes,
on
ma'am.
that one.
Yes, ma'am, will do.
Thank you again very much for joining me, Monique.
No, I enjoyed this. Thank you so much. Thank you for being so warm, and thank you for the cool questions.
Yeah, I'm so happy you
They
liked the
were
questions.
really good questions. You had me thinking. I love it.
Good.
And
good.
Adam and I heard I've heard a bunch of your episodes, but like
Oh.
I was telling Adam, what I wonder what kind of questions he's gonna ask. He's like, she's the best with questions, and
Oh
I was
my
like, I
gosh.
remember like even when you did his, I was like, those are really good questions. So I was very excited, and now I survived it. I was able to, and not that it's just like I didn't know if I was gonna have a right answer. I was wondering if you're gonna stump me, and it was so great. So I'm glad that I arrived to the level of answer for your really dope epic questions. Yeah.
That compliment means the world to me. So thank you, Monique.
Yes, ma'am.
And Adam, thank you for the compliments again with the podcast. He's been a champion of all the film things, so I greatly appreciate that. And thank you all for listening. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Special thanks to Monique Madrid, Adam Madrid, Dr. Jillian Smith, Emma Catherine, Helena Amador, Nancy Myers, Reese Witherspoon, and Natasha Leone. This episode was recorded on April 2nd, 2026.